These Korean-inspired ribs, though not traditional, are popping with flavor. Check out how we made incredibly juicy, no-wrap ribs using a 72-hour marinade. Welcome back, it's Mike C from HLMBBQ, and let's start with a crazy marinade. We're using Gochujang, which is a Korean fermented red pepper paste. This stuff on its own is packed with flavor. Let's step it up with some garlic powder and some black pepper, then a decent amount of ginger powder, followed by brown sugar, soy sauce, and then we're going to be using rice wine vinegar to balance everything out. And to drive home those Asian flavors, we're going to be using sesame oil. We've used this base marinade on chicken wings, and the flavors are funky from the fermented paste. This is a super umami bomb. Be sure to reserve at least 3 tablespoons for glazing at the end. You can increase this marinade based on how many racks of ribs you're going to use. Check and make sure that there's no bones sticking out and trim off any excess fat or pieces of meat that you're not going to eat. We're using St. Louis style ribs, and the membrane is really tough, so it's necessary to remove it or at least score it with a knife. I like to use paper towels and just rip the whole thing off, and if you get it in one pull, it feels really good. If you've seen my other videos, one of my favorite ways to get marinades to penetrate the meat is to grab a fork and just fork between all the bones and all of the meat. It works as a tenderizer, but make sure that that marinade can actually go into those holes and go all the way through to the ribs. Now, I like to start by getting the marinade paste on top of the rack of ribs. That way I can lay them face down in the fridge later on, flip them over and spread that paste onto the back of the ribs. Make sure you get everything covered up. And for good measure, let's press that marinade into the ribs before we pop them in the fridge for 3 days. 3 days later, take them out, and the color went from a dark red to a mild orange, and a lot of that marinade has been absorbed into the ribs. So prepare your smoker at 275 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is going to be a super easy smoke. The marinade will create a protective layer on the outside of the ribs, and because it's penetrated so deep, it will keep them juicy so you don't have to worry about wrapping at any point. And I personally prefer ribs that are straight smoked, but if you don't have the time, then feel free to wrap them about 2 hours into the cook. And I couldn't find my spray bottle, so I ended up using this sports bottle filled with apple cider vinegar and water. Give the ribs a little squirt if they start to get dry. Now we're about 4.5 hours into the cook. Grab the remainder of the marinade and brush the ribs like your mama used to brush your hair, nice and gentle, and sprinkle with some sesame seeds. About 10 to 15 minutes later, pop them off and let's admire our work. Our entire house smells like a smoky Korean barbecue restaurant. I know this isn't traditional Korean barbecue, but you can't argue with the flavor and the smell. The smell is sweet and it's a little spicy with a hint of smoke. If you like onions, definitely garnish with green onions or chives. The green colors are going to pop on the red ribs, but more importantly, it's going to make them taste even better. And take a look at that smoke ring and look at how juicy they turned out with no wrap. Now we have the full recipe in the description below in case you need measurements, but try to go by flavor. You can't go wrong with this marinade. These ribs, although they took 3 days, actually pretty easy. Couldn't find my squirt bottle. They still turned out really nice though. I hope the camera is picking that up. Oh, it smells so good. It's incredible.
That is my best rib I ever tried.
Best rib Henry's ever tried. This is up there on one of the best ribs I've made. The flavor is intense. Like this marinade is where it's at. You guys should really try this marinade. These ribs taste incredible. Just slightly sweet, perfect amount of heat to them, not too much. I mean, Henry was eating them and he wasn't complaining. The amount of salt is perfect from the soy sauce. We didn't even season these things. We just straight up did the marinade, and in the last 15 minutes, brushed them with that sauce, which created a perfect caramelization. Sesame seeds on there, they just look pretty. You could probably taste them. I definitely get a little pop when I'm eating them. The green onion, just adds a little bit more flavor, but they're tender, they're juicy, super big smoke ring. I'm really happy with these ribs. I really hope you guys try them. For those that keep showing up, thank you for showing up. It really means a lot to us for you to actually come here and watch what we're doing. If you guys have any comments or you have any suggestions, you have some things that you want us to cook, please let us know. Bye!
Bye!
Bye! All right, we'll see you guys in 1 week. Thanks for showing up.
Can we watch the video on your phone?
Yeah, of course.